Welcome to the momentum elastic and inelastic collisions experiment. This experiment is about elastic and inelastic collisions. At the end of this experiment, you are supposed to calculate a ball's mass after collide at another known ball's mass. The experiment is divided into three main steps. Step 1, taking measurements. Step 2, calculate the velocity. Step 3, draw graph and final results. Step 1, taking measurements. At the end of this step, you will be able to take right measurements of a ball velocity after collision by knowing when to start to take measurements, when to stop the timer, what is the proper distance for taking the measurements. Now let's know more about the interface. This interface is divided into three parts. The header includes the project logo, experiment title, help button, and timer for the whole experiment. You are supposed to finish the experiment and export results before the end of time. The main part of the experiment is divided into another three parts. Left part, which contains the controls and the results of the attempts. Right part, which contains a simulation for a lab and what happens. Bottom part, which contains messages for the user to announce him what to do or what achieved. The footer part, which contains the navigation between the experiment steps. Now let's start the experiment. 1. You will throw the ball M1 5 times with 5 different initial velocities: 5 centimeters, 10 centimeters, 15 centimeters, 20 centimeters, 25 centimeters. 2. For each ball, you will make 3 clicks. A. The first click on a throw button to throw the ball starting with the initial velocity. Here the time counter will not run. B. The second ball on the start button to start the time counter and is taken after collision. Then the name of the button will change to stop. C. The third one on the stop button after about 20 centimeters and it stops the time counter. 3. You should read every message in the status block. 4. If you stop before 20 centimeters distance after the collision, you will get an error message, so you need to click Reset button. 5. After completing the 5 trials correctly, you can go to step 2 by clicking Next in the footer part. Step 2. Calculating the velocity after collision, V2. At the end of this step, you will be able to calculate the velocity of ball 1 after collision. Now let's start step 2 of the experiment. For each trial, you should calculate V2 and fill the cells in table. Click the check results to ensure that you calculated the right values. If entered all the values correctly, you will be able to go to step 3 by clicking Next in the footer part. Step 3. Plotting the graph. At the end of this step, you will be able to calculate ball's mass. First, you adjust your units and factors and the maximum value of each axis, then click Check X and Y values button. Click Put Points on the Graph button. Start to drag a line in the graph to be the slope correct line will be with the green color. Put 2 points 2 on the line which you drew. Now calculate the slope. Click the Generate Report button to export your results. Click on Upload your results link.